같은 거 채팅을 그렇게 됐어요.
In 2007, a chilling 6-second emergency call with no voice, just static, would unravel one of Korea's most disturbing serial murder cases. A quiet seaside town, 4 young victims, and a suspect no one saw coming, but harbored dark, calculated intentions. This is a twisted case of the BoSung Sea murders and how a forgotten digital camera would expose the truth. And there will be some shocking updates to this case at the end of the video. Honestly, how this case all went down, especially with the digital camera evidence, sounds literally like a movie. And today's case actually reminded me a lot about Squid Games. Spoiler, if you haven't watched it, skip this part. But if you guys remember the scene of where the law enforcement gets on a boat, a ship with the captain, thinking that they're on their way to find the island, it turns out the captain of the boat that they entrusted was actually working for the front man. And another spoiler, he happens to kill off all of the law enforcement that was on the boat. And there's nothing you can do about it when you're on a boat. You're literally in the middle of the sea. And if somebody pushes you off or you are killed inside of the boat, that's literally like the most horrific horror movies ever. And something like that has happened in today's real life case. That's why this case is so chilling to me and just immediately reminded me of Squid Games. So before we get started, I have a crazy announcement. Literally yesterday, a video of mine on Instagram went viral for the first time in my career, over 10 million views. I believe there's like 15 million views on this video. And it was about my thick Korean hair. I'm literally measuring the volume of the hair and everyone's like, how are you getting this beautiful hair? Like, do Koreans just naturally have this gene? Well, you guys will get an exclusive rundown of my actual hair care routine because it is possible to go from this thinning of the hair because of stress and now today I have beautiful hair. And today's video is with a generous sponsor of today's episode, Kish, because they're the reason why this video is going viral because my hair volume has been off the roof. The secrets are in the shampoo and conditioner because that's the first step. And I've been using their real rosemary extracts shampoo and conditioner. Yes, they're plastic bottle free. It's high quality shampoo made without yucky ingredients like sulfate, phthalates, parabens. It's also saving you 2 plastic bottles, and I also have their shower caddy, so it is stored very nicely. It stays clean in my shower and it lathers up so well, you guys. Compared to the liquid shampoos, I noticed the bar shampoos clean the gunk out of your hair so well, which is so important. My personal favorite products from Kish is their odor eliminating hair perfume. They have a patent technology that eliminates odor while making it smell like my favorite tart cherry. Ugh. Another pro tip, I always use heat protectants before I curl and blow dry my hair. That's why my hair never gets split ends anymore. With my link and code in the description box, the shampoo and conditioner duo is only $21, which is so affordable for such a high quality product. Thank you so much to Kish for sponsoring today, and let's get back to today's case. So August 31st of 2007, Korean police would get a 6-second chilling call through their 119 system. 911 in America, 119 in Korea. No one was talking, but there was a static sound. Now in total, there were 4 call attempts, and on the last one, you could actually hear a man's voice. It's a mumble, you can't really make out what this person is saying, and it was very short. But clearly somebody wanted help. Now this is not a busy place at all. This is a place called Jeonnam province in the town of BoSung, which is near the sea, and it's very secluded. Literally, there's no young people there. The only young people that come there are people who are visitors, people coming for vacation. Like most people that are living here are older and elderly. Now obviously police were able to track the phone number, and it came from a 19-year-old female. She was just a college student and she was actually on vacation, a day trip to BoSung Sea with her boyfriend. You can see here on the last CCTV footages, it seems like they were having a fun time, especially the girl. She's jumping, she seems excited. Then it goes into a grainy CCTV footage where you can see someone coming out of a boat and approaching the young couple. An hour later from the CCTV footage, they would get that 119 119 call. Police actually could not identify who this man was or even if they were related to the case right away. And 3 days since the call and the couple went missing, their bodies would be found floating in the sea. Days went by of the investigation and police actually could not find any foul play at the time, and they thought that the couple actually fell from the waters, like they were just like playing around in the deck and fell through. Less than a month later, exactly 25 days later, on September 25th, 2007, 2 women aged only 23 and 24 would go missing again. Now, when they went missing, this was during the Korean Thanksgiving week or Chuseok. But this time, there was a witness, a potential witness. Earlier that day, on September 25th, an older couple went up to these 2 young ladies asking for help because they think that they lost their phone. So they wanted to borrow one of the girls' phone to find their own phone. They ended up finding their phone thanks to the females, and they went along their way. But later at 2:36 p.m., the couple would get a text from the girl that he borrowed the phone from. The text read, "We are the girls who let you borrow our phones earlier. We're trapped in the boat. Please call 119. So the man did call for help, 119, and he replied to her text saying, "I called for help. Are you kidnapped?" And there was no replies after that. Police contacted the search and rescue for the sea team, and they found that there was only one boat that sailed that day. Now, this was because it was Chuseok, Korean Thanksgiving. There was no fisherman that was working, and I guess you have to notify when you are leaving the deck. And that one fishing boat that actually sailed was a boat that belonged to a man named Mr. O. And he was actually an elderly man in his 70s. So police at first was like, I don't think he had anything to do with it. The elderly man was also described to be very petite. He was small, he was timid and quiet. Police went on to search Mr. O's boat and actually found some shocking evidence. And one was a debit card that belonged to one of the females that went missing. And there was also a female hair tie and bunch of long hair strands that was over the boat. That's definitely an incriminating evidence, and police ended up taking Mr. O to custody and interrogated him. Now, Mr. O had no choice but to confess because there was overwhelming evidence, and his interrogation was crazy. It's shocking because at first Mr. O confessed and said that, well, these girls came to my boat. They first asked me to get on the boat. They begged me to go on the boat. I didn't want to take them on my boat. I declined, but they were begging, so I ended up, letting them go on my boat. He made it seem like it was their problem, not his. Then he went on to confess that, yeah, while we were sailing, I wanted to touch one of the girls' breasts. That's like word for word what he said. Then, of course, they got into a fight. The girls were fighting back, saying, what the heck is happening? They thought they were just at a chill, seaside with some grandpa that allowed them to get them a free ride. All 3 of them came into a tussle and fell into the water. According to Mr. O, he says that the 2 women tried to hold on to the boat and go back in. And apparently one of the women actually floated away and both of them could not swim. Now, he had this big, huge pole with this hook on it that he made himself. He says that he hit the girl multiple times in the leg and arms, and whenever she tried to climb back onto the boat, he hit her and basically left them to drown and bleed to death in the sea. And this is what Mr. O said during his interrogation. If she was wearing appropriate clothes, this wouldn't have happened. Her button was not done and she was showing her breast. Now, some people were wondering how at least 2 grown women weren't able to fight off a 70-something-year-old man, especially because Mr. O was described to be a very petite, skinny, slim figure. But experts say that, first of all, the 2 women could not swim. And this isn't a pool or little, beach side. We're talking about the middle of the sea. There's a lot of waves and currents here. Also, experts say that it's actually not easy to stand on a boat, especially when there's current. So we're talking about a man, 70-year-old man who's lived all his life in the sea and on the boat. So he's used to this. He's the captain of this boat. So he knows what to grab to attack people, how to stand on the boat, even if there's a current. The people who worked in the market and saw Mr. O every single day says that we all knew him and liked him because he seemed pure when he talked. He had a wife and had 7 kids apparently. And according to the wife, whenever he would come home, like he would just eat and sleep normally. She did not suspect anything wrong from her own husband. From here, police started to think, well, maybe Mr. O was involved in the first case with the couple going missing. Now, at first, Mr. O denied everything relating to the couple, saying that, you don't have any evidence. And he was right. The police did not have any physical evidence to connect Mr. O to the couple's death. Now, when the couple was found only on the male body, the boyfriend's body, they found multiple wounds. But because the body was in the sea, they could not directly link the pole that he had to the injuries to the male victim. And this is where the movie-like miracle of evidences happened. So 2 months since the couple went missing, there were some fishermen that was collecting some clams in the sea. This is a digital camera, and because the neighborhood is very small and there was already rumors that Mr. O was linked to murders, they thought that maybe there's a high possibility that this could be linked to the first couple's murder. So they took it to the police, and police were able to recoup the SD card, and the photos were undamaged. They were able to recover the photos. And I'm getting goosebumps because the digital camera did indeed belong to the couple. And guess what? There were photos of Mr. O inside of this digital camera, meaning that the couple took photos while they were sailing in the sea with Mr. O, and this was the last photo that they ever took because Mr. O was the suspect. Now presented with these new evidence, this was the truth of what happened to the couple according to Mr. O. Mr. O says that, again, this couple was begging for a free ride. So he's like, okay, fine, like you're annoying me, but fine, I'll take you on a trip. He says that the couple were facing the sea, and they didn't even know what was going on behind them. That is when Mr. O pushed the male victim onto the sea. He attacked the male student who was trying to get back onto the boat with his pole again, attacked him multiple times in the legs, arms, and shoulder, so he couldn't get on, and he eventually drowned and bled to death. Now, why did he do this? He says that he wanted to sexually assault the girlfriend. What? So his tactic was to get rid of the male, leave the female stranded in his boat, locked in his boat basically in the middle of the sea, and assault her. Now, clearly things didn't go the way he wanted because she tried to fight back. And when she tried to fight back, O pushed her into the water where she drowned. When explaining all of this was Mr. O's attitude and what he said. The victims asked me for a free ride. They were on my boat for free. They got on the boat willingly. It's their responsibility, whatever happens next. Then he went on to complain how because of the victims, he was in an unfortunate situation, now being locked up in prison. Now, clearly, this guy has some really, really sick narcissism and psychopathy to the max. And criminal psychologists say that what makes him a psychopath is that when he commits a crime or does something negative, he doesn't have the ability to look within himself and reflect within himself, but deflects to others and blame them. And actually, they say that behaviors like this is very common in serial killers. In another case with a famous serial killer in South Korea, his name is Chung Nam-kyu. They say the same thing. Chung Nam-kyu said to the police, quote, "Well, I can't go to the areas with CCTV or nice places. I went to a neighborhood where they left their doors open. They didn't have money to protect their own home. It's their fault." It's as if the psychopath have the capability of a toddler. You know, like how toddlers and kids don't really have the ability to reflect blame onto themselves. It's just very external. So their empathy level and their level of emotional intelligence is that of a little child. Police couldn't determine or at least prove that with the couple that this was on spot spontaneous. But with the second case with the 2 females, they do strongly believe that he planned this. Those who have known him since he was a kid say that he grew up with a poor family, and out of all his brothers and sisters, he was the one who never went to school, apparently because he came from his father's second marriage. And back then, especially in South Korea, there's a stigma with like second marriages and things like that. For whatever reason, he never went to school, and says that he was out in the sea with his father since he was like a young kid. And on top of that, growing up in this secluded area, it seems like he grew up with no friends. He didn't talk much at all. He was a super introvert. He did get married and have kids young, which seems to be the case if you do grow up in a very rural area. And professionals say that actually psychopaths like him live double lives. So they might have a personal family, wife and kids, and they've never seen him do anything like psychopathic like this or even know about this. Professionals also think that him living in the sea pretty much 80% of his life, and he didn't even come home often, apparently, according to his family, and excluded himself from the society because someone like him feels that when he is part of the society, he has to live within the rules and laws and structures, and he can't be in control. But when he's out in the sea in his own boat, he can be the ship's captain. He's the controller of his own life. He doesn't have to live by any rules in the books. He's able to live out whatever fantasies that he wants. And because he was so stuck in his own fantasies and his own world in the middle of the sea in his own boat, by himself, the psychopathic behaviors and narcissism just amplified. Another interesting thing that police say is that whenever they were doing the live reenactments of the crime scene, which is a thing in South Korea, so the suspect have to reenact what he did, and that's used as one of the evidence. So in normal cases, they say that even serial killers, they're usually agreeable with the police when you're there, like, hey, is this what you did? Hey, is this the spot where you murdered the person? And usually they'll be like, yeah, it did somewhere around here, like they would agree. But with O, he would be very technical, very particular. He's like, well, no, it's not particularly here. It's a little bit like 15 feet more from here, this area. Or like, is this the position you were in when you were pushing the women off? He would be like, no, not like this. I was like this. Actually, my legs were like this. Like he was getting very technical, meaning that he is a control freak, especially when he was in the crime scene, his own boat. In 2010, the court had found him guilty of all 4 murders and was sentenced to death. But South Korea has not carried out any death penalties since the 90s. And a recent update, apparently Mr. O passed away in prison July of 2024 at the age of 86. And a lot of people just found out about this and they're very angry. Very angry that he literally was able to live a nice life in prison. Apparently Korean prisons aren't that bad. He's able to have some warm 3 meals a day after doing such horrific things, and just passed away of probably old age. He only served in prison about 16 years. That's it. One news reporter calculated all the ages of his victims, 19, 19, 23, 24, and it still doesn't even add up Mr. O's age at 86. And even all of them combined doesn't even add up to how long Mr. O was able to be on this earth comfortably. And this is a tricky thing to give anybody advice at all, because like if me and my friends went out to the seas and we're, having a fun time, I'm sure you've all been on vacations, and somebody just offered you a free boat ride and you're like in this like vacation mood. Oh my God, somebody just offered me a boat ride. Like, would I really say no? And the person who's giving you a boat ride is literally a grandpa, a petite, small grandpa with soft spoken, like, hey guys, you want to get on a boat? I think I would fall for it too. So I do not blame these victims at all. I think a lot of people would probably have said yes. And I personally am a trained lifeguard, so I know how to swim pretty well, but we're talking about the middle of the sea where there's currents. I mean, you're talking about far into the sea. Like, would I even have survived that? I don't know. Never been in the middle of the sea. I don't even know what the currents are like. And just thinking about that chilling phone call where the female probably saw her boyfriend get pushed off to the sea, off the boat, being literally murdered in front of her eyes. And now we later know this mumbling man's voice was Mr. O. And I also wonder, like the women, the second case where they sent the text message to the couple, it could be that they tried to call somebody, but in the middle of the sea, there was just not enough reception. And they probably tried to also text at the same time, and the text happened to go through. So let me know what you guys have thought about today's case. There's a lot to learn from this as well. Thank you so much to Kish for being today's sponsor. If you want some healthy hair, remember to check them out in the description box below. And see you guys in my next episode.